And so, Jesus decided to go to the other side, to the country of Gerasenes. And immediately, a man with an unclean spirit came out and met him. Now, this man was living in the tombs. Oftentimes, he had been bound with fetters and shackles, but the fetters he would just break, and the shackles he would tear free. No one had the energy or the strength to subdue this man. And he would walk in the nights among the tombs, and he would howl and cry, and he would pierce himself with those stones. And he came to Jesus and cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Son of man, why are you tormenting me? I adjure you. What have you got against me?" And Jesus looked at him and said, "Unclean spirit, come out of him." And he replied, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name is Legion, because I'm not one. I'm many. My name is Legion." Jesus said to him, "Come out, you unclean spirit." And he begged him not to be sent out of that country. Now, there was a herd of swines that was grazing nearby, and they implored Jesus and said, "Send us into the swine." And so Jesus gave him permission. And the unclean spirits entered the swines, and they numbered about 2,000. And quickly the swines rushed down those steep mountain slopes and were drowned. The swineherds heard of this, and they went back to tell the others, and the others, they came back to see what had happened, only to see that the one who had been possessed, the demoniac, they came back to see. And they saw him sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed in a sound state of mind, and they were afraid. And they begged him to leave their city. And as Jesus was getting back to leave that city, the man who had been possessed came to him and pleaded him and said, "Please, if you can only stay longer with me." But Jesus looked at him and said, "Just go. Tell how much the Lord has done for you, How much? And go tell people how much mercy he has shown to you." And so he quickly left and went to the Decapolis and told people how much the Lord had done for him and how much mercy he had shown to him. And they were amazed. And now they went to the other side. And here, there was a large crowd that had gathered in front of him, and he was still by the sea. Now, there was a certain man in that place whose name was Jairus, and he was the ruler of a synagogue. And he heard that Jesus was coming, and he quickly ran to Jesus. He quickly ran to Jesus and said, Lord, my girl, she's just 12 years old and she lays dying. If you can only come and lay your hands on her so she can be healed." And Jesus went with him. crowd that had gathered about him, and they were pressing in on him. Just pressing in on him. And there was a woman who had an issue. An issue of blood. For 12 years, she had endured much, and she had spent every bit of her money on different physicians, but she didn't get better. She only got worse. And she heard that Jesus was coming, and she thought to herself, if I can only touch the hem of his garment. And she came in from behind, and she touched the hem of his garment, and immediately she was healed. Jesus turned around and said, "Who touched me? Who touched me?" And the disciples said to him, "So many people are pressing in around you. Who touched me? Who touched me?" But Jesus looked around to see who had touched her. And now the woman was afraid. And she knew she had to go out and tell the truth. So she came and fell at the feet of Jesus and told him the truth. And Jesus lifted her up and said, "Daughter, your faith has made you whole. Go and be healed." And while they were talking, there were some men who came from the ruler's house. And they said to him, Jairus, your daughter, she's dead. Why are you troubling the master any longer?" Jesus looked at Jairus and said, "Jairus, do not fear, only believe." And he took with him Patros, Jacobus, and Johannes. Not the English gentlemen Peter, James, and John. And went to the house where the little girl lay. And when he went there, he saw a lot of wailing and crying. And he said to them, "Why is there so much commotion? The girl is only sleeping. She's not dead." And they began to laugh at Jesus. And Jesus immediately put them away. And he took a few, and the mother and the father, and went into the room where the little girl lay. He caught her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha, cum," which means, "Little girl, arise." And immediately she arose. And they were beginning to get amazed. And he told them, "Do not tell anyone yet what has happened here. But just remember, give her some food to eat."